Robots Radio presents...
Today's chat is brought to you by the support of all our Twitch subscribers. Through the patronage you provide the Focus Fire chat team through the Twitch platform, we are able to provide you with the weekly podcast as well as the website and other aspects of Focus Fire chat. If you have any interest in becoming a subscriber of the FFC and gaining access to some exclusive features over in the Discord server, please be sure to visit our Twitch account and click on the subscribe button. If you're an Amazon Prime member, remember that you do have a free subscription to Twitch every month that can be used for this. And for those of you who are already subscribers, thank you again for your generosity.
You may have heard the whispers of guardians gathering in the shadows, exploring the mysteries of this world and the worlds which surround us. We are all in search of truth. Sometimes we need to focus that search. Focus that fire. And so we come together. Welcome to Focused Fire Chat.
Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on July 17th, 2020 over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, I want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring the Vault of Glass. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the totally not starting to embrace the whole Zavathun mythos a little too seriously, green-eyed music lover.
Is it my turn?
I may have gone down.
Absolutely.
Last
but definitely not least. In the hot seat as guest goes, we have our good friend Niiightstalker. Grace, how are you doing?
I'm doing
Yeah,
great.
That voice, Green. I don't know. Chat's reacting pretty heavily with that.
I'm sorry. I've been on a GIF rabbit hole this whole day. Oh yeah, it's been bad. I've enjoyed looking up GIFs of Regina Mills from Once Upon a Time.
Yeah,
as the witch, and she is an interesting one. We'll leave it at that.
So, Grace.
Yes.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. You know. Just vibing. That kind of thing.
Just vibing.
Just vibing.
It's a good end of the week though, right? Like it's Friday night, it's kind of relaxation, getting into the weekend. You had one of your art pieces partially featured on Bungie today, I think, or even, right?
Yeah, very incognito. So technically featured by Bungie, but featuring one of my really, really good friends. So proud of her, very happy for her. So yeah.
Give her a shout out, because I like hanging out in her Twitter not DMs, but Twitter responses. I'm just at a loss at the moment. I don't know what's going on. But Chibi Kim?
Yes, Chibi Kim.
I think is how. Yeah, she's cool. She's real cool. I like her. She's sassy too.
Very sassy. I got to finally connect with her in person at C2E2 in Chicago last year while I was still living up outside of Chicago, and she's just as much a sweetheart in person as she is on Twitter and Twitch. So cannot recommend her enough.
Nice. And she's been streaming a lot more lately, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how she got featured by Bungie. That's cool, though. I wanted to know, actually, how you ended up kind of hooking up with her to do the art thing. Because you said you're friends, but, like, were you friends before Destiny, or did this come from Destiny?
This came from Destiny. Pinatorius Adam, he, I think it was like maybe a couple months. We'd maybe been talking about like, oh, I'm going to be at C2E2. I was tabling or helping Dave Rodriguez, who was one of the writers with Vicarious Visions, who's lead narrative director for the Warmind DLC,
yeah.
all that fun stuff. He's one of my good friends too. I was helping him table at C2E2 because he has a tabletop card game that he has made and everything. So he was like, oh, you're going to be at C2E2. Why don't you say hi to Chibi Kim? And that was how we kind of started talking and stuff, so we could get to know each other a little bit better before we met in person. So, yeah.
Nice. Gotta love Pino. Pino's good about doing that. I know that he helped set up a lot of us for Guardian Con last year with the karaoke night.
Oh, yes.
Which was intense, but very, very fun.
I enjoyed it a lot. So, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So you went to the karaoke last year?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness. So I was in the same room with you, but didn't know you at the time then.
Yes, I am just as much Hunter main in person as I am on Destiny. I'm very hard to find sometimes. So
appropriate answer.
Night Stalker-ish. Gotta love it. Yeah. So. That's awesome though. What got you into the story of Destiny though? Like, was there a specific story in general, or was it just more of like, hey, this is cool, I kind of want to learn more about it?
Well, I'm trying to think. Specifically, the reason I went out and bought the game, it was right before The Taken King came out. And what drew me in was my friend, hyped it up a lot for me. And the main reason was like, hey, I know you're into character design and there's lots of really cool, designs in the game and you can customize your character. As soon as he said customize character, I was like, okay, I'm down. But then, me being me, I looked into, all the cutscenes that were, already there and like, is this going to be something I really like? And the reason I designed my EXO the way he looks and, it really, the main thing was Cade 6 was a big reason I got Destiny. So I really want to say, just plain and simple, Cade was the reason I got Destiny. So.
So when did you come in then? Because that kind of sounds like you weren't exactly there at the very, very beginning.
No.
But you were there at least before Forsaken happened, because rip Cade.
Yes. Yeah. But I think I went out and bought the game. I want to say, because I still have the copy and everything. I want to say it was like I got the version that was The Taken King with like the bundle and everything. So I had the other 2 DLCs with it. But I got into it before Taken King. So I think I just waited to buy it until I could get all the DLC together. So
that makes sense. And I know that you and I are also working on another project together right now where we actually haven't crossed paths yet, but you're also a voice actor or actress for Termino,
yes,
right?
I am. And I'm so excited for when that inevitably happens, but we can't say much, right? So.
Right. Can you tell us what your, like, who your character is as far as like, are you playing a ghost? Are you playing a primary character or secondary character? Because I'm playing a secondary character. Personally,
I'd like to say my character that I'm playing, this individual, just based on the connections they have, and I would say they're a primary character. Just because of their role in the story. I don't want to slip too much. I don't know what Cole wants us to be saying about this, but
I know
the connections and, the people that my character is connected to, specifically the voice actors that are playing these other characters, we get along so well. And I think Cole has done an awesome job of finding not only really, really talented voice actors, but people that have a really good like chemistry already. So it's gonna. Nice. I don't know how your recording sessions have gone so far, but it's really good.
That's good. I've actually only ever had one recording session because, like I said, I'm a secondary character, so I've only had a recording session with one other character in the story, and it's been very, very easy as far as like getting to know the person and then getting to know the character voice. It took maybe 20 minutes tops, and Cole was there listening to ours, so it's one of those things that has been kind of nice because you get a bunch of different people who are all amateurs, but everybody has a really great passion to dive into it a bit more. And I know that they're finishing up episodes 3 and 4 currently, and they're getting ready to start shooting or start recording 5. I don't think 6 is out yet as far as script, but
no, it's not.
I know that I have a few lines in an upcoming episode that we're recording, and I've only shown up once. But you sounds like I believe your character has been in there quite a bit, like one of the primary ones in these first couple of episodes.
Yes, their whole faction has been in 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, they have quite a few lines. I don't know that there's so much I want to say about it because honestly, Cole has built such a really cool story and idea, like with just her talent with writing and knowledge of lore. So I'm so excited for everybody to start seeing what we've been doing because like not only the voice actors but the modelers and our cinematographers have just been working their butts off, and it's gonna look really awesome.
They have. They have indeed. Cole's kind of cheated a little bit. She's got a lore person in her back pocket that she pulls questions from every once in a while to verify that she can break the game a little bit via lore, because she's gonna push to the limits a little bit. So you mentioned you are a Night Stalker.
Yes.
Is there any reason particularly that you went towards Night Stalker? Or?
The reason I've kind of stuck with it for the longest time was because of I don't know, that whole quest and the way that a Night Stalker is described really felt, it may sound silly to say it feels personal to me, but I've always been a very solo kind of player when it comes to Destiny. I only recently have started playing with people on a regular basis. So I don't know. It just really felt like it hit home for me being a Night Stalker and everything. And I've gotten very used to the playstyle since D1. And I like the Void, and I think the Void is a really cool concept. And I also practice archery. So I was like, hey, look, that's cool. So
nice.
Yeah.
Do you run a bowing game on top of the Night Stalker bow?
Oh, of course. I love Leviathan's Breath, especially. So.
Yes. Okay. I'm a Le Monarch I do all right. Anyway, you're in good company, because I think Jay is also still running Night Stalker strong, and that's my primary class as well.
That and solo queuing, like everything.
Yes, that too. Until he convinces me to drag him through something.
Yeah, well, there's some things that I was like, yes, there are some things I'm like, that's not going to happen. I need
the dungeon.
I need bait. Someone help me.
Oh God,
bait.
Wait, guide. I said a guide. I didn't.
There we go. Sherpa, guide, savior. I take checks.
Venmo, right? No.
There you go. Now, I wanted to actually talk about your art a little bit, because I know that from what I've seen recently on your Twitter, you've really started coming into your own, not only just in a personal life, like stance personally, how you've grown recently, but also artistically. You've been able to really dive a lot more into it from what I can tell. Do you want to talk a little bit about your journey on that, or just like what art styles you like to head towards, where you're wanting to go with it, just kind of your art in general?
Yeah, of course. So, let's see, where do I start? I was really like a self-taught artist up until I had to take like serious formal classes in college and stuff. I obviously took art classes in high school, but they didn't offer digital art at the time. It was, you learn Photoshop and photo editing and not digital painting and stuff like that. So a lot of what I've done and practiced has been really just looking up tutorials or just messing around with programs and just trying to focus on what kind of art style I wanted to move towards. I have kind of like, 2 different ways I want to go with it currently. Like I want to, keep my semi-realistic style because it's a lot of fun for me to work with. I'm used to the techniques. I have a, set progress of art, sketch, line art, color, shading, all that fun stuff. But, I also really would like to, learn to digital paint a little bit better, just because I do have an end goal eventually of working in the industry. And that seems to be like the consensus is like, you have to know how to paint digitally, or not just character design, but landscapes as well, which is something I don't really do currently. And when I do it, it's not super detailed. So it's like where I want to go with it. I'm an art teacher. So, a lot of what I do is, I try to stray, like when I'm in the classroom with my kids, I try to stay away from like the crafty projects because I really want them to be able to take things like fundamentals and, all of the elements and principles. I want them to be able to take that not just out of the class and, maybe they'll remember it, but, be able to apply that to, real life. And I, try to stress a little bit more about how to talk about art. So like if they go to a museum, they can be like, oh, I see the lighting in this, or there's a warm colors, cool color, things like that. So I don't really focus on, projects and craftiness and all that. I want them to be able to take stuff away from art. So that's, and I keep that mentality when I'm making my own stuff. So I'm kind of rambling,
nice.
But yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. This is like the get to know you section. And one of the things with being an art teacher, I know that since you're teaching a lot of fundamentals, do you encourage the kids to pick their own subjects, or do you have like a basic starting subject that you want the kids to modify or to add their own twist or flair, or how do you have like free draws? I'm curious because I like my best friend from college is an art teacher, and he was very big on learning to sketch and getting into the practice of sketching, because sketching is where a lot of the practice happens for the more detailed stuff. Because with getting the big projects, you just get focused on that one thing and you're not experimenting anymore. Right.
So,
but I didn't know how you went with that.
Yeah. So what I do is, cause obviously we still have to follow curriculum, cause Common Core is the bane of my existence and drives me crazy. So, what I do typically is I'll introduce the subject, I'll give them the background on it. So, for example, last year, what I did was I wanted to do a pop art, unit and teach them about that. So I give them the history on it. I, maybe have them focus on one or two, artists that were really big. I try to keep it, not boring, because I'm working with middle schoolers. So you can only keep their attention span for so long.
Right.
So,
So Bansky, Warhol, kind of getting in there a little bit.
Yeah. So and then I tell them, what the project's going to be. So what I did for that with my 8th graders, they, got to create a whole comic book page. So I was like, just make sure you're, using panels. Don't make it just, try to make it dynamic. I gave them examples of dynamic pages. And then I said, it doesn't have to have a start, a middle, and a conclusion. You can just write a scene. I give them an option to just do whatever they want with it and run with them. Like, just the end goal needs to be a comic page. So, a lot of what I do, my teaching method is thinking about the stuff I didn't like as a student and not doing that as a teacher, and, applying that to, in a way that they'll still remember what they're learning and have fun while they're doing it. And I'm always up and moving around the room, and, and they're usually the way that if you're in my room watching me teach, you usually will hear like, hey, Miss Adams. And then I'll have to run to one side of the room and hey, Miss Adams. And I'll run it. They don't really raise their hands. We just kind of like keep it open and everybody's discussing stuff. And I try to make it a very, interactive and very full of communication kind of environment. So, just keeps it moving, keeps it dynamic.
Do you have any students who are big into Destiny as well and have possibly seen your art that you have out there on your lizard draws?
So
Twitter,
the hard thing
really cool
with students and finding social media is I had specifically one 7th grade, because I also run the tabletop club at the school I used to teach at. So Dungeons and Dragons. There was one student, she begged me. She's like, Miss Adams, could I please have your Instagram? I'm like, no, I can't give it to you. But, I had a couple of kids who ended up getting the game and then coming to art club and tabletop club and were like, Miss Adams, can you believe they just did this in the game? And hey, can I show you a picture of my guardian? And we'd start talking, and then the whole rest of, the club would be talking about our Destiny characters. So, but I was always sharing like that art with them and telling them about what's going on. And it was really cool to have some students that were into it and came into the classroom and were like, I got this game because you said I could. And I was like, yeah. So But I did tell them, I was like, hey, well, guys, it is free. So, I mean, if you want to try it and want to know what I'm talking about all the time. Because I did theme my like, each table was, I had Titans, I had the Vanguard, I had Hunters, Warlocks, the Paladins, and then I think I had 5 tables. That was it. So, yeah, they were each of them. It was great.
I'm sure they got into that because, I mean, junior high kids, they love to get into like the role play stuff too. Yes. So it's awesome that you kind of rope that in there as well. Well, that's pretty much the end of kind of my like little get to know you thing. And right now we're going to go to a quick commercial break for the podcast. Live chat's going to just hear us pause for a moment, and then we're going to hop into the cocktail knowledge about Vault of Glass. You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Hey.
Hi.
Do you enjoy being optimistic about bad movies?
Or do you enjoy at least trying to figure out where someone worked really hard on a bad movie?
Well, we've got the podcast for you. New to Robots Radio, we represent Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Each week, we look at 2 movies that did really badly critically, but we try to find the good in them.
And we have segments such as What Could Have Saved It, and Would You Watch It Again?
If you're there on a Saturday night, you want to watch a bad movie, but you're not sure if it's like good bad, or bad, or if you should even bother, give us a listen.
You can find us on Robots Radio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
Please come and say hi. We love you already.
Goodbye.
And we're back. So, Blue, I'm going to make you do cocktail knowledge this evening. So, cocktail knowledge about VoG.
Man.
Feel free, Grace, to jump in when you want to, or if you have comments about anything going on, or just jump in where you feel comfortable on it.
Honestly, the best thing is we already have a cocktail knowledge for the Vault of Glass, and it's Aethion's card, which is still to this day one of my favorite cards, simply because of the opening line. So I'm just going to read from that because it basically explains Vault of Glass. It says, to speak of Aethion is to accept certain limitations. We are ill-equipped to understand an entity that defies simple causality. Done. All right, we're done. We can go home. And that's a podcast. Like, so basically, but to be serious, the Vault of Glass really is an area that is predominantly focused around Aethion. Aethion is described as time's conflicts, and we'll get into what exactly that kind of means. But even within the different Grimoire cards from Destiny 1, so to throw back to people who hadn't played Destiny 1, instead of lore entries, we would get these things called Grimoire cards, where you would actually have to do something, like you would kill an enemy, and then through that experience, you would actually unlock a Grimoire card. This is when Ishtar was really useful, because not everyone could, go flawless and get to the lighthouse, but we really wanted to read that lighthouse card. And so that's where we kind of started doing things like Ishtar Collective and other like off Bungie.net sites with that Grimoire cards. But a lot of cards from Destiny 1 pretty much come back to describing the Vault of Glass as the location where time frays and a needle moves through it. And it says that the needle is the will of Aethion. Ghost will go on to actually describe the Vault of Glass as being unique in all of the solar system. He says, my scans indicate that other realities brush up against our own within the confines of the vault. So maybe you could even say it's unique in all the universes. The Vex are confusing, which is also a very good summary of this whole topic. As
the Vex are confusing.
The Vex are confusing. Yes, that piece is very good. Good job, Ghost. You got something right. The other thing is geographically, it is located currently on Venus. Now, with the vault being the vault, I'm assuming it's going to probably still be on Venus, which is an interesting thing with it coming back. But it is not out of the cards that the vault could possibly move. We experience it on Venus. I'm pretty sure that it is going to be on Venus. As far as like when is it, it's pretty much current. We defeated Aethion, but just like with the Undying Mind, defeat means something different to the Vex. And especially within the Vault is, once you start looking at a lot of the way that the Vault is constructed, especially the lower catacombs, I guess would be the best word for it. Once you start looking at what actually it is constructed of, you also start understanding that the Vault of Glass is actually a giant supercomputer, even more so than the Infinite Forest or anything like that. It's similar, but it's even more powerful. And Atheon is basically... Atheon is basically like the user of the computer. He directs... He's not even really that. He is the direction that the computer uses to move things about within it. So when we defeated Atheon in Destiny 1, we just basically deleted his program. But that's not to say that there isn't a backup of that program. Sorry, I'm watching chat
Atheon
go.
Is such a yeah.
We had to kill uphill both ways.
Oh my
nice
gosh!
Asher call
Vault
out.
of Glass, like you talk about some of the different things that we had to do in the vault, right? Like opening the vault originally, it was the very first raid in Destiny. You had to 6-man it because I don't know too many people who could do it with a short group for raids.
Yeah, I mean,
but
near
opening the vault
near the end, it definitely was soloable, but it took a while. Like it took a while for people to get. Well, and there was also...
You can 2-man it pretty easily.
Yeah, well, that was also
Maybe
after
3.
they nerfed the RNG of everything within it. There were a lot of things that... There was the Vault of Glass from a mechanic standpoint was a very big learning opportunity for everyone, not just Bungie. It was also for the community as well. It was it was the first raid. It was the introduction of, okay, what are we gonna get? What are we getting ourselves into? I think up until like Kingsfall, it was like the record holder for how long it took someone to get through, or wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it's not Crota's, which was like a strike.
Well, yeah, Crota's was very quick.
Like,
I mean,
you could...
Vault of Glass, I want to say it was like 14 or 16 hours before they cleared it.
Oh, the original one? The original
run.
clear? Mm-hmm. Gotcha. I wasn't actually in the community at that point.
Right. It was one of those, like, it was a very tough, and again, because we didn't, like, no one knew what we were doing. Like, just opening the door, if you didn't know, like, so in order to open the door, you have to activate all the plates outside, and it basically, it's similar to Pyramidium, but a lot more annoying. And as soon as you do that, then you go and then you get into a maze, and it's an actual, like, there's actually mazes inside of it, which is #7th hidden chest.
People will still talk about that in subreddit, by the way.
Raid Secrets.
That is still a topic that gets brought up.
Still obsessed with it.
Oh my gosh. So one of the things I kind of wanted to ask Grace here is, within the Vault of Glass, which was your favorite encounter?
I can tell you which one wasn't, because I still have
War
flashbacks.
That's good. Okay.
I hear PTSD somewhere in this comment.
I just start zoning out, staring out into the middle distance with the oracle noises playing in my head until I pass out from overexhaustion. No.
So that second stage, is that, or is it the end stage that you're kind of like, ugh?
Okay, so the funny thing is thinking the oracles, I had to take, I'm going off on a tangent here. I had to take a mythology class.
Go for it.
In college. Mm-hmm. And we started talking about the oracles. And I looked over at my friend and I just went, I have to go, I have to leave. I was just like, cause my mind immediately went, it was the first, the oracles scarred me for life. Like, that one Twitter post that was going around recently too, with the guy with the piano saying only the OGs will remember, and they had that effect on the keys. I just, man, it wasn't particularly hard looking back on it, because once you got the callouts right, that was it. You got it. But like, I just the noise just gave me so much anxiety remembering. I don't know, but before that, you said what was my favorite, or I think it might have been the Gorgon maze, only because it kind of makes me think of Leviathan when you're trying to sneak away from the dogs and stuff. Your fire team's all clustered together and you're trying to find a way through without being spotted. I don't know. I loved that. I know a lot of people also got really freaked out by it too. But yeah, I love that encounter so much. So,
I just remember going down there because the Gorgons, they were the ones that would erase you from all history, right? Like they were erasing your future, your past, everything if you lost. That was the original like major wipe mechanic. Yeah. And I just remember every hunter being scolded before we started not to double jump.
Exactly.
Just like, don't use your abilities. Don't jump. Don't you jump. Do it like everybody else does it.
Just remember grab their cloak and just hold them down. Just do not. Where are you going?
We always ran where the hunters had to run in the back because all of us would jump and all of the Gorgons, you just see the and it's like, and they're like, at that point, just everyone run.
It's like the Matrix scene, when the Sentinels that would come after them if they made any noises out in the real world in the Matrix. Oh my gosh. Gorgons were like that.
Yeah.
But before we even get to that part, you mentioned like the oracles, and I'm trying to like the old Raid Secrets thing about the different tones of the oracles. There was that huge spin foil regarding that in relation to the music of the spheres and all the different types of
and how it led to the
musical
seventh
theory
chest.
that went into it. Yeah, we were talking about Raid
Secrets.
Secrets.
Point of every theory with the vault is where is the seventh chest?
It was the friends you made along the way. That's the seventh chest.
Oh my!
Wow, that's a callback.
The friends you made along the way that were hunters that then started cursing at you during the jumping puzzle, following the Gorgons.
Oh my gosh!
There's a spin-foil theory for you right there with the tones of the oracles, though. Oh, okay. Wow, that was a. Is the current thing with the Savathûn song. You can never know if that ties into the tones in Savathûn's song with the oracle noises in Vault of Glass. I don't know. There you go. That's all I got.
That would be... I would have to re-look up what the tones are for the oracles to see if it matches with the Savathûn song, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't match with Baby Shark or Baby Hive.
This is true.
But it might match with the Shadowkeep theme. But, gosh. Okay, so we kind of skipped over the first encounter inside of the vault, which was the well, right? Where you're dealing with the oracles initially and the shield. You get is it the Aegis that you get first?
Oh, I love that. That's a great mechanic.
And Templar.
Do you have to? I can't remember. Do you have to defeat Templar first?
Yes,
because you defeat him.
So
and
you do the plates first outside. You get into the vault. You kind of go through the little bit of maze. Then you get to the Templar area, and then you do the Templar run, where you first learn the mechanic of getting rid of the oracles while fending off ads, and you're kind of in different groups. Then you're dealing with fanatics that show up that had the green goop that you had to get rid of. And you had a clear spot, clearing in the well. And then after you do a few rounds of that and go through the Oracle cycle twice or 3 times, you get the Templar, and then you have the Aegis, which helps block, I believe, the Templar's ability to teleport. Yeah. And so you use that to help defeat him. And then the Aegis comes back after the jumping puzzle and everything when you get to actual Atheon. But I'm trying to think if there was any other mechanics or like lore. Do you want to talk about the lore behind the Aegis Blue a little bit? 'Cause that was a pretty big thing.
Yeah, it still is actually, because we never, it's one of those. It's one of the older pieces that we might get. We might actually see some further development on it, which will be very interesting. Actually, thinking about Kabr and all the potential that exists there. But the Aegis is basically it is derived from Kabr, and I'm going to... So for those who don't know who Kabr is, he's a big fan of milk stout. He is a Titan, Vex milk.
Milk stout?
Yeah, Vex milk, and he drinks beer, so it's milk stout.
I was about to mute my mic. I was like, wait, what?
I love I made a point to
Destiny?
look up at the camera that I have for Green, and I just saw the confusion go across her face. Oh, it's beautiful. So, real quick, let me pull this up for live chat here, because we actually do have a Grimoire card on the Aegis. Actually, people in Destiny 2 will probably recognize this term because they have a lore entry for the Aegis as well. It's a ship, if I remember. Yeah, it's the big chunky ship. And this is one of the reasons why, with the Return of Vault, I'm really interested to see what they're going to be doing with the Kabr storyline, because the flavor text for Kabr's Glass Aegis is Kabr stopped them in the Vault of Glass, but what did he start? Which is very interesting when you look at the it's the relic, the Aegis, and it's not for some reason coming up for me. Give me 1 second. Here it is. And it says, "These are the last words of Kabr the Legionless. I have destroyed myself to do this. They have taken my ghost. They are in my blood and brain, but now there is hope. I have made a wound in the vault. I have pierced it and let in the light. Bathe in it and be cleansed. Look to it and understand. From my own light and from the thinking flesh of the Vex, I made a shield. The shield is your deliverance. It will break the unbreakable. It will change your fate. Bind yourself to the shield. Bind yourself to me. And if you abandon your purpose, let the vault consume you as it consumed me. Now it is done. If I speak again, I am not Kabr." So this is where we get the idea that, or this is where we started to get the idea that, you know, Kabr was this big character within this fire team. We go on to find out that Kabr was actually a member of we know 3 of the members, which is Praedyth, Kabr, and Pahanin. There's a theory that there were 3 others that got erased by the Gorgons, but we're not... That's not really...
we don't know much about it
Yeah,
yet.
the only reason that we think that could be a possibility is because it is a raid, and traditionally with raid-level events, you have a larger... You have basically 2 fire teams. So the fact that there was only 3 of them either indicates that, A, they weren't really aware of what they were getting themselves into, or we have another situation, which actually kind of gets backed up with Praedyth, because the way we find out about Praedyth is in game, Praedyth has been erased from time. Now, at current point, we know that Praedyth exists and he is held prisoner, but up until, was that the Paradox mission? In game, characters were not aware of Praedyth even existing because the Gorgons had basically kidnapped him from the Vault of Glass. But going back to Kabr and the Aegis is literally a piece of Vex metal that Kabr infused with his light and basically created for lack of a better word, an exotic relic, an exotic artifact that we can use. And the one thing I do really like about this card is that it actually does explain mechanically what you use the Aegis for. Because the Aegis is able to cleanse you. There's a debuff that you get when you're fighting the Templar, and also especially at the end when you're fighting Atheon, that you actually start losing sight. Like you can't see through your screen, and you have to be, and one of the functions of the Aegis is you can create basically a bubble, and if you can get within that bubble, your vision is returned, you're cleansed, because it's basically wiping away the darkness. So this is like, I really like how they combine the mechanics with the actual story of Kabr. Now there's also a story of Kabr actually drinking Vex milk, which is where my milk stout joke comes from. Let me see if I can get back in here.
They love to experiment. It's
a Titan thing, right?
It's their hippie thing that they're doing, right? They're just enjoying the hallucinations that Vex Milk provides.
Well, it to be fair to Kabr, I think he might be the reason we know that this happens.
Him and frickin' Squid Boy.
Oh, well, Pahanin was he was scared of squids, so, I don't blame him for that one. But it's from Pahanin that he says that, this is on the actual Vault of Glass Grimoire card. He says his name was Kabr. He wasn't my friend, but I knew him and respected him as a guardian and as a good man. And he would go on to say, quoting Kabr, "You will meet the Templar in a place that is a time before or after stars. The stars will move around you and mark you and sing to you. They will decide if you are real. I drank of them. It tasted like the sea."
Ugh, salty.
I'm sorry. And right? Right? The real reason we should be salty in game.
We drank
Vex
them.
Milk.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Add a little bit to your coffee. It spices it up in the morning,
No.
Yeah. It's like salted caramel.
No.
Okay,
salt. I mean, that wouldn't be too bad.
was it Devrim that asked about that?
Still.
There was someone who asked about
Still.
putting Vex Milk in a hot drink. I can't remember.
It was probably Drifter.
Well, I mean, Drifter just wants to eat a Vex.
Chewy centers.
And the creamy centers.
I'm going to end up gagging before the end of this episode, I have a feeling. It's just like...
Oh, God.
Oh, man. All right. I'm going to actually cut us short on that one a little bit, and then we'll pick right back up here in a second for our next commercial break.
Are you an avid player of the Elder Scrolls Online and looking to take your game to that next level? Well, the Red Diamond Courier podcast is here to help. I'm Bob Chichinski.
And I'm Dogbark24.
We are two experienced players aiming to help others learn and improve through in-game knowledge and references.
From PvE
to PvP.
and everything in between.
There's sure to be something for you in the Red Diamond Courier.
We hope you check us out. Thanks!
And, okay, so I'm going to bypass the whole salty center, creamy center, whatever we were just doing, and I want to go back to the original three that we know about in the vault. Kabr, Pahanin, and Praedyth. In particular, you had mentioned Praedyth, Blue, and I kind of want to dive into that a little bit more about where Praedyth is, where he was, and where he is now that we know of, and kind of his arc.
Oh, well, and up until, was it Shadowkeep? Was it Shadowkeep that we got Praedyth basically brought back in full force? Like, Praedyth has always been a really, really interesting character. We kind of got a glimpse of Praedyth. Well, we got a glimpse of Praedyth back when we got the information about the Great Ahamkara Hunt, which was amazing. It was him, Pahanin, and Kabr chasing Ahamkara to basically classical rock, which just makes like that picture just makes me smile every time. But Praedyth was, as far as we are aware, Praedyth was a warlock. He was a member of, like I was saying, the member of the original fire team to enter the Vault of Glass. There is a small possibility that fire team was actually sent to the Vault of Glass by Osiris, because that was one of the reasons Osiris was quoted as needing to realign his priorities. But it was in the vault that Praedyth basically ran afoul of, we're assuming, the Gorgons. What is known is that he became lost in time. He literally was taken out of the picture. Now, it would be later in Destiny 1 that we actually accidentally picked up on some of his signals, and the Vanguard sent us to the vault to try to figure out basically who's calling for help out of the vault, because we just get a random like help, like, and there's like, and even Ikora doesn't even know what this is. No one knows who Praedyth is, and that was actually probably the saddest thing about Praedyth's story, is that because of the way that he was removed from time, everything that he did was forgotten. Everything that he was forgotten, except for, I think the description was, except for like small scratchings in the corner of some notes or something, like, just like these very... Which
is sad, because he introduced Ariana and them what was it? In Ariana's Vengeance, Pahanin introduced Ariana and Wei Ning. Mm-hmm. And they have, like, they wouldn't have remembered it.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't have remembered him. Glass. Like, it's this weird thing of, like, he was so again, kind of going back to mythology, right? Thinking of existence as that tapestry from, like, Norse mythology, is basically what they did was they removed his thread from the entirety of the weave. I don't know if any who listen are fans of Wheel of Time, but it's basically Balefire, the magical capability of Balefire from Wheel of Time. When it kills a person, it actually doesn't just kill them in the present, it actually sends reverberations back through the past and removes them from the past as well. That's similar to what happens with Praedyth here, is that he's actually removed from everything. Now, it's interesting because one of the paradoxes with that would be the understanding that there would be a lot of paradoxes, because if he's removed, then the things that he would do. So it seems interesting to me that there's a kind of, I think it's often, I was just writing this down. It's called a timeline protection hypothesis, is a response to a lot of time travel paradoxes. And so there's a weird hypothesis that basically says, like, the universe itself will kind of intervene and keep it from imploding because you just erase something that is kind of integral to it. So there's for like the Ariana and Wei Ning thing, even though Praedyth is gone, air quotes, gone, they still met. Like, this still, because the thing is like, if Wei Ning never met Ariana, we would never have had the first Crota Fire team. Right. And so that whole thing,
or that beautiful love story.
Right. But I mean, like, in the massive picture of, like, what happens with Crota, if you didn't have the first Crota Fire team, we would never have gone down there, and Crota would still be present. Like, there's this whole thing, and that's just like one of the larger things. So anyways, so the Taken invade the Vault of Glass during D1. I think it was following the defeat of the Taken King, I want to say. And the Vanguard pick up some signals of distress. And so they send the Guardian into the vault to attempt to rescue. We recover Praedyth's ghost. So Praedyth is ghostless at this point. It is pretty much confirmed, though there's possibly a few workarounds to that too. But we discover his ghost, and when we discover his ghost, we recognize that some of the files they have that are stored on the ghost have future Warcult headers on them. So the Guardian then takes the ghost to Lakshmi, who has no idea who this is, like, no clue. But she calls out that the headers, the code heading that is on these files are pretty much for, like, the top ranking individuals within the future Warcult. So the fact that Lakshmi doesn't know who it is actually a big concern to her. And of all the factions, future Warcult would probably be the most beneficial to have a time problem with, because they are the ones that are obsessed with time. So they basically sit down and they start trying to figure this all out. And that's really the last we kind of heard of him in D1, if I remember.
The Praedyth door part of the mission to get No Time to Explain. So, I mean, we go back into the vault a few different times, with the Taken for one, to get the gun No Time to Explain was another one, and it also had to do with Praedyth and the ghost and future Warcult and everything. And then obviously VoG itself, but the vault has problems within like the construct of time, right? And I'm sure we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the advanced episode, but how the vault functions in the flow of time compared to, say, the infinite forest. That is something I don't know if we've ever gotten truly resolved where it fits yet, but I don't know. When you kill the very end, when you kill Atheon, you have to go into the past and you have to go into the future, which is quote unquote Mars and Venus, right? That's am I remembering this correctly?
I do
That's
know
our
one is
names for
Mars.
Yeah, that's our names for it.
Mars and Venus, future and past, or whatever. And you're having to go through and clear the oracles. Do you remember what the oracles were for, Grace, or Jay, either one? What the functionality of them within the vault itself was?
They were scrubbers. So, sorry.
Trevor?
No, scrubber. Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of actually. They were basically a firewall that was there to remove us, which is why we had to remove them. If you didn't destroy the oracles quick enough, they would erase you. And it seems like a lot of the quote passive NPCs in the vault had kind of similar abilities, because they were basically non-motion, or they were non-moving Gorgons is the way I always kind of in my head pictured them. The Gorgons would patrol on their certain paths, and if they saw you, they would, and you'd have a quick second to blow everything up. And if you didn't, then they would basically nom you like the Langoliers, and everything was done. The oracles were a musical thing that did pretty much the same thing. It pretty much, they just got rid of you. If enough of them popped up, you would basically, I can't remember, it's like you were lost to the corners of time or something like that, if I remember that correctly. But if you were able to either bypass them or basically get out of their area of effect, because especially in the last one,
you had to shoot them.
But did you have to destroy all of them to get out of the past and present areas? Okay. Okay. Well, then
that's how you were able to turn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Because I know with the Templar, you had to also destroy all of them, which was always fun, because always the one would hide in the little corner that you couldn't snipe. Icebreaker was great, except for that one. But yeah, the oracles I always pictured as basically a firewall or an antivirus in a similar vein of the Gorgons. They were more passive, but in a way more powerful at the same time, because they didn't, and if I remember right, they didn't really have a form. They were just, they looked like the data lettuce that you have in Nessus.
If you're building one of the spires, just a piece of it.
Yeah. Or the data lace element that you can pick up on Nessus. That's what they always remind me of. But they were yellow, orangish. And they had a very tonal.
I think we see oracles in D2 as well, but I don't remember where. The thing that I find fascinating, if you want to talk about the Whisper mission, right? The Oracle room, the fact that oracles show up there makes you wonder if the Vault of Glass could have been slowly being built, or another version of the Vault of Glass slowly being built on Io. Obviously, we're not going to go there now.
I think the other thing that could have also been, that you could also make the argument for there, is that it was integrating itself. It was collecting information from different realities, which I know we'll get into with the advanced session for sure, because rereading the Grimoire cards after the most recent information that we got from Vance especially, I'm definitely putting emphasis mentally on different parts of the card that I was just glossing over when I read them back when we first started this whole madness. Because to be fair, looking back, it does call out that multiple realities are connected to the vault. I mean, it says.
Also, well, just everything. Multiple realities are connected to any type of tesseract type thing, right? Like Vance calls that out in the duress and egress, that the tesseract that we get perfect paradox from is connected to all these different realities because we're forcing the connections. Makes sense that the vault would be as well. And it makes me wonder, we know that the vault, or not the Vault of Glass, but Infinite Forest also has connections all over the place because that's how we get Saint 14 back. But I think what we should do is go ahead and wrap up the intro episode, and then as we're getting into the advanced episode, we'll go ahead and do things like favorite stories from Vault of Glass, as well as more of our theories for the upcoming release and the fact that Vault of Glass is coming back, and maybe just go a little bit more in depth with some of the different topics we talked about. Sound good, Blue?
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Cool. So, should we do shout-outs?
Yes.
Grace, do you have any shout-outs for us or for any of your peeps out there?
Should I tell them where I'm located as well, or?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll start with that. On stream, you can see it. Night Stalker is my main Twitter account. It's Night Stalker with 3 eyes. And my art account is Lizard Draws. It is LIIZARDDRAWS. That's where you can find all my Destiny art. And also I do art for my current Dungeons & Dragons campaign often over there too, and some other OC art.
Nice.
I do want to talk about, because we are on the topic of Vault of Glass, there's one person, I can't remember what her current Twitter is, but her name is Peach, and she was one of the first people who ever went through Vault of Glass with me, along with Quiet, and they are Dredge and Hope on Twitter, and they are also part of that original Fire team with me. So
I know Dredge and Hope.
Yes, Quiet is one of my good friends, and I love them both.
That's awesome.
And then there's Wake Rides. That's Max, and he plays Destiny with me often. Him and I have built a lot of our Guardian OC backgrounds together, so he's also very near and dear to my heart. And just to ramble off a bunch of names, Starkasms, Crit Buff, Nem Plays, Pablito Savage, Moonvald, all those guys I currently play a lot of games with, and I love them to death for letting me hang out with them all the time. But yeah, I have a lot of friends in the Destiny community, and I didn't have that last year before Guardian Con, and it's really nice to be a little bit more cemented in the Destiny community currently. So,
absolutely. And with you doing art, I'm sure that there's been kind of more of a following growing as you keep doing it. So that's one of the things I love about our community, is that we really do tend to really embrace our artists and help them grow no matter what their skill level is. You could be at Monk's skill level. You could also be at like Khan. Khan was originally not... He is now. Like, have you seen the progression stuff? Like, of where he started at when he first started back up in drawing and Destiny in particular, to where he is now with his warm-up sketches even? Like,
yeah, it's incredible.
Just the community has really rallied behind him. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see that. So I'm excited to see you keep going. I love your Awoken work, because I think it's got a different kind of edge than what you normally see for the Awoken, which is cool.
Oh, goodness. Thank you. That means so much to me. So... Love my big buff lady. She's great.
She's kind of scary too. Not gonna lie. Like, she's one that you don't want to end up in an alley with.
No.
Or if you do, you hope that it's for good reasons and not bad reasons. But yeah. So, any other shout outs for you before I take over the reins on that one a little bit?
No, I think I'm okay. Just check out Termino when it comes out. I'm also working on the Wayward Destiny project too. We haven't done much with that just yet, but we're getting closer to recording audio for that. I don't know. Just retweet art. Just retweet it, because that means a lot more people will see it.
Yes.
But give credit.
Retweet.
Yes.
Don't take.
Do not download.
Don't take the art.
Please don't.
Oh my gosh. It is great that people are out there and they want to show off the art, because it's great really, really cool stuff. Like I have the artist who was dealing with the Facebook page. I have her work as my backdrop. It is like the solar system one that she did.
Yeah.
So good. So good. So it's just like when you see people that are retweeting it and taking credit for it, it's just like you kind of want to punch them in places that shouldn't be punched, but they deserve it.
It makes me so mad.
Yeah, but PSA, don't steal art.
Please don't.
Just lift up the people who are making it, because that's a lot of time and effort. But other shout outs for me, shout out to Kibi Chim, because of her kind of little highlight today, or Chibi Kim. I totally flipped it. Chibi Kim. I don't know where I was going with that. Shout out to her, and it's Chibi Kim is best on Twitter. She is awesome. She's also a fairly steady streamer too. Like she's really getting into streaming a lot more lately, and she's part of Team Resolute. So if you want to hang out over there, I know she's been doing some raids and stuff lately and helping people out with that. So hit her up on Twitch as well at Chibi Kim on Twitch. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is I've had more and more people ping me on Twitter about the podcast that we're getting ready to put out. And I have 3 books completely recorded. I'm working on a 4th one right now, and I'm going to I'll put out marketing on it when it goes live. So when you guys hear this, it may not quite be live yet because I'm trying to get a backlog ready before starting to release anything, but look forward to that on Twitter or in our Discord. I'll be sure to make sure to put out an announcement there, as well as we'll put a link at the end of Focus Fire Chat whenever that goes live as well, so you guys all have a chance to see that. It is going to be called Destiny Lore Audio File. So we're going to be doing that here pretty soon. Yes, it's going to be lore books.
I was excited.
Blue. It is pretty exciting. I'm actually acting.
Ooh.
Not with a face cam, but just with her voice.
No. Yes. I did cry, though. Like, I legit cried recording the final entry of Black Armory.
Yeah, I think that was the tweet I saw, because I was like, because I remember reading it, and I was like, okay. I think I know where that's going, but I'm not going to say anything, just in case.
Blue, do you have any shout-outs?
No, I mean, really just thanks to everybody for... We kind of jumped into stream this evening. I nearly said this morning, and that's not when we jumped into stream. My days are all weird. I don't understand days anymore that I worked at home for the past, 3 months. But we jumped in stream, and you guys, the live chat here was in the middle, or they started up a hype train of subs, and it's just thank you. I don't know how else to really boil that down. It doesn't go unnoticed, and I know that you guys are only a small part of this amazing community that is the Destiny community, and in other communities, and it really reinforces my hope for humanity when we interact with you, which is pretty much daily. And it's become such a necessary thing for me that I can't imagine doing stuff without having you guys in it, because, and I think we were talking, it was a couple of days ago, Green, you and I were talking about people, it's weird that people focus on negativity even when there's not stuff there. And it's as a person, I'm going to be fully honest, as a person who that is my default setting, having people that are reaffirming the good in the world makes it a lot easier to ignore that part. It's not that part isn't there. It's oh my gosh, there they go again. It's not that they're not there. It's not that part isn't there, but having people that reaffirm the benefit and the goodness in the world makes ignoring that part really a lot easier. So I mean this absolutely from my the bottom of my heart, thank you for being that, not just to us, but to everyone out there that you interact with. It means, especially in today's world right now, that alone is more, that will help more than any dollar amount that you can put. If you can show people that you care, that you will go out of your way to help them, in whether that's monetary, whether that's just showing up and talking to someone, or just talking to them on the internet. Like, I don't think that people realize just how important that is, and I really, really appreciate it. So that being said, I want to thank you for your time, and until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer. Stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. With that, we'll begin to wrap the chat up. Thank you again to those over on Twitch for coming to spend your evening with us. If you'd like to join us for the live streaming of the episodes, please be sure to give us a follow over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. Links to all our episode archives can be found at www.thelorenetwork.com. Please be sure to email us at focusfirechat@gmail.com with any comments and or questions for the team concerning the podcast, and let us know how we're doing by giving us some feedback and a rating over on iTunes as well. So until next time, focus your fire and may your light shine bright.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.